Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Thunder and Lightning Gaming Podcast. I'm Thunder.
And I'm Lightning.
Sorry that there was no podcast last week. We were at Comic-Con 2 weeks ago,
Yes.
and we record these almost a full week in advance. So if we don't record it on Sunday, then we're probably not going to record it, because
Right.
the only other option is recording it Wednesday, and then we would have to record 2 podcasts like 3 days apart. So, you know, the 100th episode inches ever closer.
What are we
yeah.
going to do for that?
I don't know. I was thinking like a group podcast, like see if we could get Kelsey and Pauline down, but I don't know how possible that would be.
That would be really cool. That's a super cool idea we haven't talked about.
Right.
Let's talk about that more. Maybe not on mic, but
All right.
like a stream.
No, just a podcast for the 100th,
just get
for the
everybody
100th
down here.
podcast. Yeah.
I'd like that very much.
I mean, if they all want to stream with us, they can. But the point is 100th podcast.
Right.
That's what we're doing. Because we're at like, what, 95, 96? Something like that.
I think
we're
93.
close. 93?
I think.
Somewhere in there.
That's a super cool idea. Right after this podcast, let's talk more about that.
Okay.
I really like that idea.
Let's talk more about that while we're ordering and then hopefully receiving food.
Yeah, no food shenanigans today.
Maybe-
at least on this podcast.
Maybe there's a food story in our Monday video game podcast from 4 days ago. Anyways, Lightning of Thunder and Lightning Gaming. How was your week?
My week was excellent.
Or how was your 2 weeks?
my 2 weeks was excellent. A lot of cool things. I don't even know where to begin. Let me start not with Comic-Con. Monsoon, aka Pauline, and I got our wedding bands.
Mm-hmm. And if you're as confused as I was, that's the ring that goes.
Oh yeah, you thought I was making a big deal about what band we chose to play at the wedding.
Honestly, I said this when we were going to see Shang-Chi because we had such a busy week. We did a lot of stuff together. I literally thought you meant that you were getting the name Romantis on your wedding ring. Like, that's what I thought you meant. That's where my brain went. I was like, band? That's an interesting thing to put on your...
Well, because I told you I got my ring engraved, and I said I got
like,
my wedding band engraved, and you were
did
like,
not. You said I got my band engraved. You did not say the word wedding.
Oh,
so I
okay.
was like, you put your band's name on your wedding? That's weird.
Yeah.
That's a little weird.
No. They're my ride or die. That's it. But no, we got our rings. They're great. We're very happy with them.
Nice. You were telling me hers was too thin to engrave?
Yeah, her band matches her engagement ring unbelievably. It looks like they're a set.
Mm-hmm.
But it's super thin, and it's essentially vines all around.
Oh,
That's
right, right. So it's not just a plain old band.
No, neither of them.
Oh, okay.
They're both, I mean, since we're talking about it at length here, this is up to you, but I have pictures. We could put a picture of what our rings look like up if you wanted to.
Yeah, if we don't end up coordinating that, then no worries. But yeah.
Okay. Beyond that, Comic-Con was amazing.
Boston Comic-Con 2021 actually happened. PAX East, take note. It wasn't that hard. I understand that you have controllers that everyone has to touch, but please, for the love of God, let me go to PAX East.
If PAX East happens, I think we should both get tickets and do exactly what we did for Comic-Con for the channel.
Yeah, you want to do... Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, we could do that.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the hotel, which I also think we could be an
hotel
option.
would be a good idea. Yeah, sure.
Because I was honestly staying at that hotel, I was thinking to myself, like, I think even if I end up doing PAX East alone again, I'm going to get a hotel.
Yeah. No, yeah, seriously. Let's say that did happen and it's just you. Do it.
Yeah.
No shame in that. It's easy. You know how easy it was for us?
Right.
We were in the goddamn convention center.
Yeah. I didn't realize that there was a hotel connected to the convention center because the old convention center for Boston Comic-Con was literally a hotel that had a function hall in it.
Right.
But this is 2 separate buildings, the Boston Convention and Exposition Center and the hotel we were at.
Yeah.
Which is literally, there was like a good 50-hour period of time where we did not step outside
Yeah.
because we had
Yeah.
our food delivered to us, and we had a maybe 9-yard walk from the hotel to the con.
That was exciting for a few reasons. Obviously, we didn't talk about the hotel in our video, but I felt because we were making content, that's not what we were at Comic-Con for. We love
Right.
Comic-Con,
Yeah.
but we figured instead of because last year it was just this podcast. We used this entire podcast to talk about how our Comic-Con went.
Right.
And there's so many things and so many visuals and so many fun things to do at Comic-Con. We were like, let's make a couple videos. By the way, last Wednesday
And next Wednesday.
and next Wednesday, make sure you check out our videos about how
Yeah.
Comic-Con went. We're not going to talk about the things that are in the videos.
Yes. So if you
Uh,
if you're listening to this conversation, and you're like, I'm good. There's more to be discussed.
There's way more. This was my favorite Comic-Con, and I think it was a mix of anticipation. I haven't been to one in 2
Right.
years at this point. Also, it was the Thunder and Lightning channel. All of us were there together.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at in the hotel. I felt kind of professional. We were at the convention. We stayed at a hotel. We made as much content as we could. We were all together.
Right.
I had a slight air of like, we're doing things.
Yeah.
And it felt good.
Cool. No, I get that.
But we had a lot of fun. We played Smash.
We watched Paranorman
we watched Paranorman.
and Monster House. Did not know Sam Lerner was in Monster House. Hilarious bit of trivia about that individual.
I cold called.
You did. There's a twist in Paranorman, and Chris, like, halfway through the movie was like, this movie came out at a time where this wouldn't happen, and I was like, haha, yeah, and then it totally happened.
That was cool. We made maybe my favorite skit we've ever made. Also, it's going nuts. It's
Oh, yeah?
already at like 70 views.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's getting up there.
We haven't even posted it anywhere. I just made
Have
one.
we not?
I made one social media comment. We haven't
Oh, okay.
put it on Reddit.
Right,
We it's just Thunder and Lightning didn't even share it yet.
right.
I only shared it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
If that became our most viewed skit, I would be okay with that.
I think it already deserves a sequel.
Like
I th-
it's like I was saying. First of all, yes, I think we just found our the thing we do at Comic-Con. Unless you want to do it way sooner.
Well, that's the thing is the way we did it. It could be any chair,
Yeah.
and I kind of like that canon that it's that if a chair, it just happens to be any chair that
Yeah.
somebody desperately needs.
No, it's one of those skits where when we were making it, it kind of felt like everyone involved knew exactly what the finished, edited, final project was
Yeah.
going to look like.
Yeah.
It was just like one of the only skits that we've ever done where I was just like, I have a perfect vision of what this is going to look like, and then it looked like it, and now it's successful. Sometimes videos just happen like that, where you're like, I bet this one's going to take off, and then it does.
Yeah.
That happened with our, Godzilla versus Rocky versus
Mhm.
all that.
It's weird when you get that feeling because you're just instantly like, oh, we did something.
Yeah.
Um,
Because sometimes you get that feeling and it doesn't.
right.
So it's cool when it does.
Yeah. Beyond that, I did everything I wanted to at Comic-Con,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah, you in particular had a pretty busy schedule, and I feel like you satisfied, you checked off every single thing on that, on that list, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
One thing we didn't really talk about on the videos that I do want to talk about here is in Artist Alley in Comic-Con, which is the section where all the artists and
Mhm.
people doing their own thing hang
Right.
out.
Anyone can grab a booth, basically, as long as you have creative stuff to sell.
Right.
Even if it's it doesn't have to be artwork or sculptures or something. It
Yeah.
could be knit. I just knit this just now at the con. Do you want to buy it?
Right.
But
Which
it's
is-
also where the comic book creators hang
Right.
out.
Right.
we were hanging out, and we talk about her in the video, but we were hanging out a lot at Ariel Diaz's booth, and right next to her was a booth for Brian. Oh God, I forget his name. The guy who just wrote Suicide Squad, Get Joker, or whatever it's called. who's like a real ass like comic book writer. I don't know. It's interesting that they put them there.
Yeah. No, I mean, besides the comic creators who are on like the outer edge, it's really the indie section of Comic-Con. It's
Yeah.
like whoever wants to be there.
It's funny you say that because I know you've never been to PAX, but they really do have like there's indie games all about, but they
Yeah.
have what they call the indie mega booth, and it's essentially like Nintendo, Sony, Capcom, and then the indie mega booth is just like 50 indie games that you can just like like run up and down the halls playing a bunch of indie games.
That's
like
cool.
like we do with the it's interesting to you use the word indie to
Yeah.
describe it because that's what it makes me think of too.
Yeah.
It's just like a section of Comic-Con that weirdly has different lighting and also has a bunch of people who like aren't selling stuff but still are, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, exactly. And we did a lot of networking as a channel down there. We got a bunch of cards. We're going to email a lot of people, see what we can do,
See what sticks.
get involved. I feel like we utilize Comic-Con the way creators and like professionals are supposed to use Comic-Con.
Mm.
We networked there. And
Yeah.
it was great. But one thing, channel aside, there was a booth. Pauline met a girl at Comic-Con. They were geeking out about Zuko. They were in line, and she
Yeah.
was like, the girl, I believe her name was Jen, said, my boyfriend has a booth in Artist Alley. Come check it out tomorrow or whatever.
Right.
And so we were looking for this girl, and Pauline, there was one booth. Pauline was like, I think that's her, and I was like, it's not her. And Pauline started walking over to it, and I was like, okay, but it's not her. And then she got up to it, and there was this girl selling, you guessed it, art. But she was also selling books that she wrote.
Oh, right.
And we spent a good amount of time there. And we were just chatting it up, and I happened to mention, I was like, oh, well, me and the two of us are working on a book that we're co-writing, and she was like, oh, that's awesome, and we were talking about that, and she gave us her publishing house information, so we already contacted them, actually, just asking questions, and we were probably going to submit soon.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
So soon before the actual book is
oh
done?
yeah, they were super like even if you haven't put pen to paper, tell us what your idea is. So we're gonna
okay.
wait till we're at 12 chapters.
Actually, since you're talking about it, if you look under my comb over there, I think her card is literally right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you want me to?
Yeah, since we're talking about her.
Yeah. So, the author's name is Maxina Storybrook. And you can follow her on Twitter, Instagram, DeviantArt, which we've been hearing a lot about. She also has an Etsy.
And she also makes
And a Patreon.
it's on the back of that card, but she also makes
She makes custom chessboards and dragons.
Yeah.
That's cool. She had a cool booth.
We more so you guys, but we all kind of hung out there for a bit. She seemed pretty cool.
Yeah, if Pauline and I were ever to like go her route of trying to sell our book, I feel like we'd do something like that, and maybe make it a hodgepodge of stuff. It might even just be the channel booth, because after this year at Comic-Con, I'd feel less weird about that after seeing what everybody was doing. If we had a booth that had our logo and said Thunder and Lightning Gaming on it.
I mean, this wasn't even at Artist Alley, but there was this guy who was selling toys and pop figures and collectibles and stuff. And he had a very, eclectic collection of pop figures. So I was kind of talking to him for a bit about, do you have this one? Did you hear about this one? And at some point, he revealed that this is his personal collection. Kind of like...
Oh, I remember that.
Kind of like the comic book shop we go to. So, even he was just like, yeah, this is my stuff. And I asked him if I could sell my stuff.
Yeah.
This is just a yard sale to him.
Yeah. Well, so that's the difference between retail and Artist Alley is if we went retail, huge money to rent a booth, but we can sell whatever we want. Artist Alley, short money, but it's got to be stuff you made.
Yeah.
But we all do something.
Yeah.
You have two things you do. I'm looking at one right now.
Yeah.
Kelsey has stuff she does. me and Pauline could have the book. Also, Pauline, not crochets. Oh God, latch hooks.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
like crocheting. Yeah, we all do different stuff. A project I want to get into that I just found out is epoxy, like squares with little scenes in them.
Okay.
They're like clear squares, and you can have like a little,
Oh, kind of like a ship in a bottle.
like a ship in a bottle. Yeah, except this is a solid
Yeah.
object. I'll show you them because they're really cool. I think it's something you would like.
Okay.
But I was thinking I could make like Pokemon ones.
Are you talking about those things that like blew up in the early 2000s where it was like a crystal with smaller crystals in it and it was like Marilyn Monroe, you put it on a light and it like lights it up?
No. This is let me put it this way. You make a little scene, right?
Yeah.
Let's say this would be above my expertise at this point, obviously, but let's say you have a little house and you got some trees and
Made
some
out
shrubs. Of what? People usually tend to use 3D printing.
Oh, okay.
And you paint it and you sit it, and then you take this stuff called epoxy resin.
Mm-hmm.
And you pour it on there. It's like maple syrup.
Okay.
You let it harden, and then you shape it to be a square or whatever you want, and then the scene is just inside of this thing.
Yeah, I've probably seen it and didn't pay too much attention to it. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, they're really cool.
And it sounds like one way or another painting is a aspect of that, which is something you already do.
Yeah, I mean,
Model painting.
It can be. I have an idea. I won't waste. Maybe we'll talk about it later because we have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah.
Besides that, Chapter 8's almost done. Next time me and Pauline get together, we know we will finish Chapter 8.
Nice.
We're going to go back, review 5 through 8, which we could probably also do next time we're together, and then we're going to hand it off to you. Then
That's
the
me.
next 4 chapters that we do, after that, we're submitting to the publishing house.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. How was your week?
Oh, it was grand. So something I didn't mention about Comic-Con, 'cause it honestly wasn't important, is so Pauline and I went to go meet Steve Bloom, voice of Spike Spiegel. Learn more about that in our vlog videos. Before we met him, they have like I don't ever know what to call him, but they have like an assistant who's like...
I always assume it's their manager.
You'd think, right? I'm just going to use the word assistant.
Sure.
Because I feel like that covers all my bases. I was using the word handler, and that didn't seem right. Anyways.
Like a lot.
Like they're
an animal.
Yeah. Yeah. So this guy... It was him, right? Maybe. I don't know. I think it was this guy. Apologies if it wasn't. But I was wearing my Pac-Man shirt that I have. I believe your mom got it for me a couple of years ago. It's definitely one of those shirts that you could find at Walmart or something. But it's a nice shirt, and I like it. I wear it all the time, and I just happen to be wearing it that day. And because, person in front of me, whoever that was currently talking to Steve Bloom, the assistant was talking to me, and he said, like, he asked such a weird specific question about my shirt. He said nice shirt, and then he said is that, he said, like, is that a shirt from back in the day, or did you get that this weekend? And I was like, in my head, I was just like, why are those my two options? Like, and then I didn't answer him right away, and he was like, like, have you been a fan of Pac-Man since the beginning? And I was just like, so, like, I think I answered pretty good. The answer I ended up giving was, I was born, like, literally just like, information gathering. Like, I think this is the info you want. I literally said, I was born in the 90s. I bought this shirt a few years ago.
Yeah.
And and he was just like, oh, cool. But I was just like, why is it I've had this shirt since 1983 or I bought it this weekend? Like, why are those my two options?
I think it all comes down to the words back in the day. I think what he meant was, have you had that shirt or did you get it this weekend?
But then he said, but
Have
I
you
would
been a
agree with
fan
you, but then he
since the-
followed up
Yeah.
with, have you been a fan of Pac-Man since the beginning?
Well, he thought you were fucking 50 years old.
I guess so. At least what, 35 at that point in order to be a kid and be old enough to enjoy. No, 45? I don't know.
Yeah, I think 50 to be honest. No, 45 sounds right.
Yeah, I don't know. I come out the womb already having beat level 9 of Pac-Man. And I'm like, this game's bullshit. I like the Mrs. Pac-Man better. It's less strategy is involved. And I also said my first words on the day I was born
Yeah.
in 1983.
And your first couple were, this is bullshit.
38 years ago. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be a powerful first words. People are always like, "Oh, my first word was dad. My first word was, Toy Story. My first word was this is bullshit." That's what I would, if I was running for president now. That's what I like, a fact I would bring up. Like, you ask my mom. My first words were this is bullshit, and I meant this country
Jesus.
or whatever. Sounds like
or
some-
whatever
sounds like-
politicians say.
yeah. Sounds like something. Sounds like something politicians would say. So I'm also not going to talk about this because tune into our video game podcast that released 4 days ago if you want to hear about this. But they at the Sony event they talked about
Oh my god.
they talked about the new God of War, and because they talked about the new God of War, my interest in Norse mythology is kind of like made a resurgence. So IGN actually 2 days ago uploaded a video, an 18-minute video of a professor from the University of Colorado who teaches Old Norse and Norse mythology. His name is Jackson Crawford. They uploaded a video of him watching cutscenes from the original God of War game from 2018, and he was talking about like what they got wrong, what they got right, why people think Thor looks like this, all that stuff. And it was so fascinating that I like followed him to his channel. He's got his own YouTube channel where he like literally posts like lessons. So I've been watching a couple of his videos, and he also in one of his videos made the mistake of revealing to me that he has his own personal translation of the Poetic Edda. So I did buy that, and I have been reading that because I'm a big, huge nerd. It's going pretty good. I'm 30 pages in, and I'm still in the introduction. But hey, that's what happens when you buy a literal college textbook and read it like it was a storybook. It's just so fascinating, Norse mythology is, and I'm not going to talk about it for long. But
you got to watch Vikings.
I will. He actually, this guy, Jackson Crawford, said that he was a Norse mythology consultant on Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Disney's Frozen.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
No, I'm going to watch Vikings for sure.
Especially the new series is coming out this year.
Yeah, it got like a Twin Peaks style reboot, right? Like it's not the same shit, but it's like coming back, kind of like the Bad Batch.
It's supposed to take place 100 years later.
Oh, okay. So it is a honest to goodness spin-off.
Yeah, it seems like they're gonna try to be more historically accurate. They're having more like Leif Erikson and
yeah,
they're gonna have
the main character of Vikings was a real dude, right?
Yes, he's so. Because I looked up actual facts about this guy because I was so curious. And essentially, what everybody can tell is either he was a myth, which there's enough information
to dispute that.
to dispute that he's not a myth. And if he's not a myth, this might be one of the most fascinating humans that's ever lived. Because at some point, it's got to be myth. Literally one of the first stories is about how he met his wife and how he married her. And the way he married her is he killed the fucking bear that with his bare hands that guards their house.
Oh, that's good.
And then I don't know. He didn't rape her.
Right.
I seriously, he then he was,
And then he got on one knee and
something to their
Yeah.
equivalency of that.
yeah.
But
That'll happen sometimes. That happened with fucking St. Patrick. St. Patrick was a real dude. I'm sure he didn't do all that magic that everyone thinks he did.
Well,
but
that it's just the stories, the real life stories about
Right.
this dude. It's like, okay, I mean,
sorry.
well, the show, as far as the Norse mythology side, it really seems like the show did a good job trying to portray that accurately. On the historical accuracy of these real human beings, dog shit. It's
Okay.
very false.
Yeah. I haven't heard Jackson Crawford talk about Vikings yet. I heard him talk about Marvel, which
yeah,
you know.
of course.
That's
a stylized version of it, anyways.
Yeah. No one at Marvel, not even Stan Lee, is sitting here like, this is Norse mythology.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
it was never supposed to be. Like God of War is trying its best, right? Assassin's Creed Valhalla is trying its best. Marvel is not. Marvel took characters from the mythology and turned them into superheroes and
Yeah.
you know, stuck to the lineage as much as they wanted, but no one said they had to, so they didn't. But I haven't heard him talk about Vikings yet, which makes me think that he probably likes Vikings. He probably thinks it's pretty, because all the things I've heard him talk about, like pop culture wise, are things that he was like complaining about.
Yeah.
Like, and you probably think this because of this show, and so I haven't heard him talk about Vikings yet.
A lot of people are frustrated with the historical inaccuracies in Vikings, but
Okay.
Once you know that that's a part of it, that this isn't entirely historically accurate, then you deal with it. I was going to spoil something for the show Vikings.
Okay.
I'm going to
That's
stop
super-
talking about it.
That's super interesting to hear you say, because you are an individual who absolutely hates Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which
Well,
is
here's
not
the
a good
thing.
movie, but the reason you hated it was for the historical inaccuracies, it seems like.
So, this isn't Ragnar Lothbrok, the Wolverine fucker. This is Ragnar Lothbrok, the Vikings. Let's get as many stories in as we can and sew together our own storyline.
Yeah.
If they were like, this season, Ragnar fights Dracula and Abraham Lincoln and a Wolverine, then I shut off the TV and I say, well, that's enough of that
Wolverine
show.
from Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Dude, what a fight. Wolverine's obviously going to win, but well, I don't know. Dracula's rather unkillable.
Fucking, I throw my hat in Ragnar. That dude's kind of a god.
That's
it
the only-
really seems
That's
like.
only normal. Oh no, you did mention Abraham Lincoln.
No, yeah. Oh, Ragnar Lothbrok fucks up Abraham Lincoln. I'm sorry. Abraham Lincoln's awesome. This dude fucks him up.
That's a good Dracula. Why haven't they done Dracula versus Wolverine? They're both indestructible. It's interesting. They did
Well, Dracula's not indestructible. If Wolverine knows how to kill Dracula, then he can kill Dracula.
right. No, you're right. Wolverine's been alive long enough that he should know how to kill Dracula.
Right.
Stupid conversation. Stupid podcast. What else did I do? God, just a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about on other stuff. Because I also saw with you Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah, that's another podcast.
Listen to our podcast that I think, if I have my math correct, comes out 2 days from now when you're listening to this, or 3 days from now. Spoiler alert, it was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to talk about this on the podcast, but I think I'm going through the same thing that you're going through with Comic-Con. I think that the part of the reason I liked this movie so much was because I haven't seen a movie in theaters in 2.5 years.
Right.
And it probably matters more than I thought it did. Because people are, I'm not about to go as hard as that one guy went on like fuck streaming. It's bullshit. You have to see it in theaters. But like
It is a different experience.
It's just interesting that I saw Black Widow and I was like, good old check mark. That was okay.
Yeah.
That was a 8 out of 10 solid, no complaints movie. And I saw Shang-Chi and I was just like, movies have never been the same. So I don't know. So that's just something I've been thinking about lately. New Bopper Flop. Check that out. The end. We did some pretty good ones. And even the bad one is pretty good, I'd say.
Bopper flop?
The
Bapper bap?
the one flop that we had,
Oh,
I still
yeah.
think was a pretty enjoyable song. But yeah, I think that's it for me. I've just been relaxing because Comic-Con was a lot.
Yeah.
I've been trying to not be. Oh! I always talk about this, so I might as well now, since I'm struggling to think of stuff that happened this week. The Circle is back.
Oh, that's good.
It's I am liking it. I'm not liking the people as much as I did last time. Someone, if I can share with you, got super fucked over. There was this old Southern woman who was very sweet and kind and never did anything wrong, and her name was Michelle. And then there was sisters. There was 2 of them, but they were like, we're only gonna be one of us, you know. They'll let them do that sometimes. So they got voted off first, like immediately. Like I knew something was up because they voted them off like episode 1, which is like way too soon. And in the Circle, when you get voted off, you get to go meet someone face to face. So they brought them to this room that they thought was another player's apartment, and it was a room like with a TV screen. And they were like, "You're getting a second chance. You're gonna go back in. Here's what we're doing. It's something we've never done before." So essentially, these people got to clone another player. So they got to pick another player they were playing with, and now they're also them.
Oh.
So they picked Michelle, this old woman, and literally, like, it was a fucking horror film. The Circle, like, glitches and shuts down, and when it turns back on, there's 2 of her. One with a blue circle and one with an orange circle.
Jeez.
And essentially, what they did was they had a 24-hour period to play, like, which Sonic the Hedgehog should I shoot, and, like, decide which Michelle should stay and which one should go home. And I thought she did a pretty good job, but apparently not, because literally every single person voted for the real Michelle to get kicked off.
Wow.
Which, it is just a game, which is something that both people involved said to each other at some point. But I've never been on a reality show, but I know how the back end of these things work, and if I was Michelle, I would be going to my agent and being like, "What the fuck was that? That was bullshit." Because it's not fair, you know?
No.
It's not as bad as the Emily shit from last season, but I was just like, this is not cool. This is a weird twist to throw at us right away. So, yeah. I don't know. The Circle's a weird show. I like it a lot, and I do think you would like it, especially since I feel like you, like me, are more into reality shows now. Like, you watch Lego Masters, you watch that other thing that I think you've been trying hard not to reveal on the podcast that you watch.
I've got 2. Yeah, I have 2 other shows.
Oh, God, there's another one?
That are definitely guilty pleasure shows.
Yeah. I think you would like The Circle, because I'm not sitting here saying it's a guilty pleasure. Masked Singer's a guilty pleasure. Masked Singer probably sucks. But the Circle is really good, and I really like it. And it's like I don't know. It breaks the conventions of reality TV. You watch a reality show, and you think you know. Ooh, excuse me. Like, you have especially now in 2019 when The Circle started, you have a pretty good understanding of like how bullshit reality shows can be, and like, how they are known to fake the interviews and cut up and make people look bad, worse than they were and stuff like that. But this show doesn't do that. You know, if something interesting happens, they show it. You know, and there it is. I don't know. It seems like the difference comes in the fact that there's very little. It seems like there's very little interaction between producers and players.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's good. People.
All right.
I think people should watch it. The end.
Cool. News time?
Yeah, I'm good. I've talked enough. Talked too much, one might say.
All right. I've got some. just gonna move along. Oh, that's old. Okay, that's old.
Okay.
These are some Pauline news stories.
Got it. Okay.
Britney Spears' father
Uh-oh.
has filed a petition to end her conservatorship. So
What?
I haven't read these yet.
Wait, what? The father wants
Yeah, the
to
film.
end the thing that he was the main issue in?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting from this.
Is he trying to backpedal his is he taking the court being like, all right, hold on, don't cancel me. I'm cool. Is that what's happening?
That's really so. This comes from Buzz News feed. So take it as truthfully as you want.
Yeah.
Britney Spears' father has asked the judge to end her conservatorship in a shocking move that comes months after the pop star told the court the legal argument had allowed him to abuse her for years.
I see what's happening. This is a fucking if I can't have you, no one can have you situation.
Yeah.
This is him being like, well, I lost it. Well, what's the point anymore? Let her be free if it's not going to be me controlling her. That's
really what it's feeling like.
Okay, it sounds like this guy's just throwing a temper tantrum. I see what's happening.
Let's get this Patty started. The Bob's Burgers movie is coming to theaters Memorial Day weekend 2022. Disney shared this. I don't follow Disney on Facebook. Why don't I follow Disney on Facebook?
Because they probably have a lot of little kids stuff along with adult stuff. I don't know why. When you said Bob's Burgers movie, my brain thought Five Guys movie, and I was like, why is that a thing? Why are we excited about it? That sounds really terrible. Bob's Burgers, the television show, is getting a movie. I feel like they've been hinting about that since
They haven't been hinting at it. They've been trying to get this movie out there since 2018.
I feel like the Bob's Burger movie has been in the same kind of limbo that the Arrested Development movie was in until they just ended up turning it into a season 4 and 5 on Netflix.
Right.
That's cool though. So sorry, my
Memorial
mistake.
Day weekend 2022.
Oh,
Let's get this Patty started.
that's not what it's called, right?
I don't know. That's just what I just like it. That's what Disney said. It looks like it's just called the Bob's Burgers movie.
I mean, yeah, it worked for The Simpsons. It's interesting. Not that I want this, and I really don't want this, but it's interesting that there hasn't been a Family Guy movie. You'd think that would have been popular enough to do that by now. It really feels like, because there was a South Park movie, there was a Simpsons movie, and now there's a Bob's Burgers movie, and you'd think that the Family Guy movie would come out before the Bob's Burgers one, which makes me think that they don't want to do it.
I don't think the way their writing and comedy style works, I don't think it fits an hour and a half, 2 hour long film.
No, I mean, you're right. It doesn't.
I don't think they'd have a storyline good enough to. They make these hour long movies. Quote unquote movies.
Right. It would have to be those things they do with Stewie and Brian, where it's like, Stewie and Brian go to this location.
Yeah, I guess.
It'd have to be like that, the movie.
Right. Well, I think they'd have to use a bunch of their tropes all in one movie.
Oh, they did make the Star Wars movies, I guess.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but those are like an hour long. Also, it's just it's just Star Wars.
Right. It's a scene for scene recreation, for a lack of a better term.
Honestly, if somebody was like, "Hey, I want to watch Star Wars, but I want to sit through the whole thing," I would suggest to them the Family Guy because you get the entire story. And they do a good job of explaining the story.
Yeah, that I will say that they definitely make dumb Family Guy jokes, but they do get the point across with the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. WandaVision wins first Emmy award.
Yeah, I read that this morning. How is that possible if the Emmys haven't happened yet?
'Cause fuck you.
Oh, okay.
No, let's read.
Not saying they don't deserve it.
WandaVision is officially an Emmy award-winning. This is coming from comicbook.com.
But, okay.
Limited series. During Saturday's Creative Arts Emmys presentations, WandaVision's Mark Worthington walked away with the Emmy for Outstanding Production Design for a Narrative Program.
So the Emmys did happen, and I missed it? Is that what we're talking about?
Saturday's Creative Arts and Emmys presentation. So yeah, that's how it happens, Anthony.
Yeah. Why aren't you telling me when it is? No, the Emmys aren't until. Oh, nope, that was the other. The Emmys are on the 19th, so this was like a pre-show thing.
Okay.
That they apparently give away awards in. Okay, that's cool. I've been looking forward to that because, I know Catherine Hahn was, up for some stuff, and if she doesn't win, I'm going to scream and yell and yell and scream. Yeah.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer's Nicholas Brendan suffering deep-seated medical problems after jail time.
Nicholas Brendan is the guy who played Xander, right? He's a nerdy white dude.
I don't know the show.
Do you have a picture of this individual?
Not as of yet.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's the guy who played Xander. He, because I know he went to jail.
Yeah, he played Xander Harris.
Yeah, there we go.
In all 7 seasons of Buffy the 50-year-old actor who was also appeared in Criminal Minds. This is also from comicbook.com.
Yeah. He did also appear in Criminal Minds. He was a good guy, but then he wasn't a good guy.
Felony prescription fraud charges is what he went in for. That Brendan pulled out because of medical issues, immense pain.
So he literally got released from jail because he was sick? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He since experienced paralysis of the genitals and legs.
Oh, interesting.
Holy shit.
Why would they word it like that?
I don't just say he's
paralyzed,
just paralyzed
from the waist down. Yeah.
Yeah. The condition is called cauda equina. Cauda equina syndrome. It is a condition where nerve roots in the lumbar spine become compressed. It limits movement in feeling and sometimes function in the genitals and bladder and the bowel.
Interesting.
This is horrifying.
Yeah.
That's scary. That can just happen.
I guess
How do you check to make sure this does? Pauline, how do you make sure this doesn't happen?
Pauline, hear our cry.
I have back problems. She says that Brendan that sleeping on the that's how it was worded. Sleeping on the concrete floor of his jail cell. Don't sleep on the floor. Aggravated pre-existing back problems. He's since experienced paralysis. Jesus, I'm not going to finish that sentence. We all know where the paralysis is.
Yeah.
That's I don't like knowing that that's a thing that can just happen.
It sounds like he went out of his way to make it happen. It sounds like he was sleeping on the floor and not exercising with the jail provided exercise. It sounds like he just was lazy and also sleeping on the floor for some reason.
But that fucking paralyzes you?
I guess. I don't know. I don't sleep on the floor. Not anymore, at least. That's a joke. My bed used to be it was like 3 toilet paper rolls and some 2x4s. That was my bed for a while.
Yeah, I mean essentially. And then once you got through all that, it was a lot of metal.
It was like sandpaper and a Brillo pad. That was my bed.
Yeah.
A few years.
That haunting segment does end Pauline's contribution to the news. So now moving on to my news.
Okay.
Steve from Blue's Clues addressed the nation.
Oh, yeah, he did. Did you watch it?
I did. It was amazing. I sent you a funny meme and you didn't laugh.
I didn't laugh because the meme was just like, yeah. Like,
Well,
I was just like, yeah, that happened.
well, that's right. It happened.
Why do you think they did that? I obviously appreciate that they did, but like, why do you think they think it was time for that? The pandemic?
Yeah, I think he was just trying to do a nice thing, and I think he knew that.
But he clearly did it like in association with Nick Jr., you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, I wonder whose idea it was. Like, I wonder if the guy who played Steve was like, hey, can we do this? Or if Nick Jr. was like, listen, all the adults that that grew up with us are going through the pandemic too. Steve. Steve. That is your real name. I think it is his real name.
That'd be cool. I'm looking for because we have 2 weeks worth of things to talk about, but it seems like not really. Ludwig Göransson to return for Black Widow Wakanda Forever score.
Yes, yeah. This guy's good. This guy is
Yeah, he did a good job.
This guy is, oddly enough, considering Black Panther and the impact it had on planet Earth, is a white guy, which I always thought was interesting because you listen to that soundtrack and you're like, no way. But he did really good. He's done a few things. Now that I'm put on the spot talking about him, I can't think of him. And I get him and Bear McCreary mixed up sometimes. But that guy's really good. I'm if anyone was going to return for that movie, it was going to be him.
So
it's kind of late though, isn't it? I feel like it's late in the filming process to
make the score. I don't know.
Maybe not. I don't know.
So this is from one of my MCU fan groups on Facebook, and this seems like just some dude's YouTube channel.
Okay.
I just love the passive aggressiveness in this title.
Okay.
On the thumbnail, it's Eternals gets theaters only release, and then in parentheses, thank Shang-Chi.
Okay. I don't know why you thought that wasn't gonna. What the fuck does that possibly mean? They clearly were like, all right, okay. Jungle Cruise is the last one. Shang-Chi's gonna be theaters only.
Yeah.
And then Eternals is next. And this guy.
I think this guy was hoping that everybody boycotted the theater, so nobody sees Shang-Chi, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, we'll put Eternals on Disney Plus."
We when we went to go see Shang-Chi, we had to sit through. I timed it 24 goddamn minutes of trailers.
Really?
Yeah, and one of them was the Eternals trailer that you've been trying to avoid.
Oh yeah, no, I think I saw that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's been like 3 or 4 Eternals trailers.
Yeah, that was the one that I was like, this is a little much. This is a little too much detail. And now I've seen that trailer 3 times.
Maybe I hadn't seen it, and at that point I was like, well, whatever. I asked for it. I came to the movie theaters.
Robert Pattinson's character in that movie is Superman from DC Comics. There's no way around it.
Oh yeah, right. We'll see what that's all about. Josh Holmes,
not familiar.
Queens of the Stone Age frontman.
Oh, okay.
His children have filed a restraining order against him.
Oh.
I
mean,
his son, who's 10 years old, and his other son, who's 5 years old, have filed a restraining order against him through their mother.
That is
accusing the musician of physical and verbal abuse, and requesting that he stay 100 yards away from them at all times.
Oh my God! So they're gonna continue living in the same house, is what that sounds like.
No, 100 yards. That's a football field. He can't.
No, I know, but these. I guess I just assume that all famous people live in giant mansions.
I mean, that would be extremely difficult, but.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's not good that he was doing that, obviously, but that's good that the mom did that and the courts were. That is not the age I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna be like 22 and 26-year-old.
No, that's the shocker.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You're right.
Our good friend and friend of the channel, Ben Wiki.
Oh. Okay.
I
I was like, there's no way this person's an actual friend of the channel, and then they were.
I'm gonna read his post because I like how he worded it. Huzzah! The book I am proud to have illustrated for Peter Fuller will be published next month. There will also be a London book launch on October 25th for all you UK friends. So Ben Wiki has illustrated a book for author Peter Fuller called Supper with the Stars. With your... Oh, it's a blurry picture. I believe it says with your host, Vincent Price. So that's exciting. Very happy for Ben Wiki.
Vincent Price is no longer
super
with
dead.
us. Yeah, interesting.
Well, it's illustrated. I think the
Right.
idea is like there's an illustration of Vincent Price on the cover.
Right. Is
Uh,
the idea that they're all dead famous people? That's why it's called With the Stars, maybe?
I'm guessing because
Possibly.
yeah, it looks like a lot of older stars. But congratulations, Mr. Wiki.
Yeah.
And we're excited to check that out.
Hey, I don't know if you got this in your news thing, but John Mulaney and Olivia Munn are having a baby.
How's John Mulaney doing? Because last I heard he was in rehab.
Here's what happened with John Mulaney. He has had an alcohol addiction since he was 13 years old. And he recently, and by recently I mean like a year after he started stand-up, got clean. And he's been clean for a while. You know, I think pandemic woes got to him. He turned to the bottle again. It also seems like he was in not a great marriage, which we'll get to in a sec. But he checks himself into celebrity rehab. We don't hear anything from him for 4 or 5 months. And then we hear that he's completely, what's the word? He's recovered.
Sober.
Yeah. Relapse is a bad word, right? That's what he had the first
That's
time.
what he had.
When yeah. So he's recovered. He's out. And then like a week later, he files for divorce with his wife. She claims that it was completely out of nowhere, that she thought their marriage was going great, and the divorce was kind of out of nowhere. And then like maybe a week and a half later, he starts dating Olivia Munn, who is, of course, a decorated actress in her own right, but is, of course, most well-known for hosting Attack of the Show on G4. And just a bunch of reports of them being like, we've always kind of had the hots for each other, but he was married. And I don't know. It seems like he left his wife to be with someone else.
Yeah.
And currently they are not married, expecting a baby. So it seems like they are pretty happy with each other. People are trying. Here's the deal, right? Here's the thing that I don't agree with. People are trying to cancel John Mulaney because he divorced his wife. But like,
Well, calm down.
just shut up.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. No, it's nobody's business.
Right.
I understand that he,
If he abused her, that'd be a different story. But if he wants to leave his wife, he has
Right,
all the right in the world to.
it seems like he, whether you agree with this or not, whether you think this makes him a not so great person, it seems like he lost interest in his wife and he wanted to date Olivia Munn. It seems like they're really
Seems like
happy
he has
together.
a lot going on in his life.
Yeah. That's the thing. It seems like he's a famous person. He's got a lot of things going on in his life. Maybe shut the fuck up and wait
Yeah.
for his next stand-up special. And if it's bad, then you can complain about him. But like
That's even still, that's not cancel worthy.
Right,
If he sucks at something once, that's not. I was worried. I'm not gonna lie. I have come to really love the show Big Mouth,
Oh yeah.
of which
yeah,
he
yeah.
is one of the voices of the two main characters.
Yeah.
I was worried that was gonna put an end to Big Mouth because I hadn't heard anything new about
Right.
him.
No, he's, as far as the rehab goes, it ended successfully, and he's, sober now. And as far as everything else he's doing, I'm sure Big Mouth was on break because of the pandemic. He hasn't
Right.
announced a new stand-up special, and Into the Spider-Verse 2 is not announced casting yet. So
Right.
we're kind of like literally everything he's ever done is kind of just on. Oh, and the John Mulaney and the Sack Lunch Bunch. Last time we heard about that, Comedy Central picked it up for a 2 special deal, which has not been canceled yet. So next year's about to be pretty big for John Mulaney, and I'm excited. I'm excited for him. I don't know why people are canceling people for far not severe enough reasons.
Situations like that are when it gets out of hand. Agree or disagree, the guy didn't do anything morally wrong.
No, the fucking it's happened with Simu Lee. It's happened with the guy who played Shang-Chi. People are trying to cancel him because he had a rocky immigration here like 10 years ago, and it's like, just shut up, just shut up. The only reason you care is because his movie is making like a lot of money.
Right. See, back in the early 2000s. We would call these people haters. You hate them because you ain't them.
I don't know. I know we talk about this a lot. I have mixed feelings about cancel culture. Sometimes we get them, and the shitheads are no longer get to work in this industry. You know, Joss Whedon, Bill Cosby, to name a few. But like sometimes it's just
there's a gray line. There's not everything, because some things are clearly like these are awful people,
right,
and they deserve it, and
right.
But there's a gray line, and if we go too much on the other side of the gray line, it gets oppressive, and you need to be careful of that. But this is a good thing as long as it's kept in check.
But there's also, on the other side of the conversation, there's also people who I feel like should have been canceled years ago.
Still aren't.
Why isn't J.K. Rowling canceled? Why isn't Tim Allen canceled? Like, why do these people get to run around being shitheads, but Simu Lee can't like mind his own business in the privacy of his own house, like collecting what little money he gets from the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings?
Right.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it.
No, it's some people are using it as power over the random celebrities that they don't even know.
Right. I feel like 2 years ago I saw blank is canceled. I was like, well, fuck that guy. But now every time I'm like, blank is canceled, I'm like,
well,
okay,
you got to check into
let
it.
me read the entire article and see what they actually did and decide if they're canceled or not.
There was a while there where I was like, oh, that person's gone. Well, that makes sense. Oh, they did this, so I get that. But like Bob Dylan was one where I was like, all right, hold on. Before even Facebook caught up to me, I was like, I'm going to check the comments section.
Yeah.
I'm going to see what other people have to say.
Remind me briefly what he did. We talked about it on the podcast before.
A woman who's 50-something years of age accused Bob Dylan of molesting her when she was 12.
Oh, okay.
The big issues being
the situation surrounding the circumstances
where he was.
Right.
I think it's already been disproven. Disproven because he was on the other side of the world when she's claiming this happened.
Right.
And people, and I'm glad I looked at the comments section because I was like, oh, I mean, if this is accurate and he wasn't there, and then not to mention he just sold the rights to all of his music for millions of dollars, like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Did it get to the billions? I'm not sure.
Probably not. I'm going to say probably not.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
Very coincidental.
Money that this woman could have if her story was true.
Right. If her story checked out, could be her money. Very coincidental. Never want to blame the victim, but there are a lot of holes.
Of course not.
There's a lot of holes, and there's a lot of when you have a reason to do some motives behind wanting to do this and do it now.
No, I mean, you know.
And there's a similar story in music that I feel like it goes the other way. The song Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I can't say this legally because it was proven, it was quote unquote proven false, but they stole it from another band. They stole the music from another band that they were touring with. And the story matched up perfectly. They were like, we toured with them the summer before they recorded the song. Here's our version of that song. And here's theirs. And it's like, well, why did you wait till now to say it? And they're like, because we're dirt poor. And those guys are millionaires, and we needed to save up enough money.
Because we are the opening act.
Right. We needed to save enough money to make a real shot at this. If we get any jackass off the street to defend us. And eventually the courts, it's funny, the courts were like, we acknowledge you made this song. This is a historical song, and we're going to say Led Zeppelin wrote it. Bang. And that was That was what the ruling was. It seemed
Yeah.
like, because all they were like, you know, maybe a little compensation. We just want writing credits for the song.
Right.
And Led Zeppelin was like, oh well, fuck you. That's our
See,
song.
that's a little much. Writing credits is not
Not a big deal.
that big a deal.
Yeah.
Olivia Rodrigo literally just added two members of Paramore as writing credits on one of her songs just because it sounded like it, and people were like accusing her of stuff. So it really honestly doesn't matter, I've learned. But is that it for news?
Let me just double check.
Because we are running a bit.
Yeah, we
bit
can
long.
call it. We can call it. That seemed like all the important stuff.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for listening. Go check out other stuff on this channel and on our Twitch. If you hang tight for 20 more seconds, there's gonna be a outro where we talk about everything that you could go see. And join us next time we record a podcast. I've been Thunder,
I'm Lightning.
and we'll see you then. Thank you for listening and watching, and if you like what you see, please be sure to subscribe.
Our channel is daily uploads from podcasts to video essays, let's plays to skits.
Be sure to find us on Twitch and Patreon.
Our theme song is Sunny Day by Froggy and the Friendship, and our Let's Play intro is Sunny Bit by the same band.
Link to all these in the description below. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.